Welcome to the main Slate mashup. I would say hosted by, kind of joint by the season-long DFS competition. I'm Jamie, and I'm joined as ever by Liam. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Just enjoying the Masters at the moment, and happy to jump on and talk about DFS.
I'm quite excited by this week. There are quite a few really juicy. I like the prices this week. I think it
it's a nice slate. Yeah,
it is a very nice slate. We will get onto the main slate very shortly, but as everyone can see, we've got the leaderboard for season-long DFS competition in the background here. I've managed, after a pretty poor week of 145 points, carried by Dalvin Cook again. Managed to keep on top of the leaderboard with 1,450, 85 points, 80 points ahead. So I've got a little bit of a cushion, just a little bit. You've dropped down a spot, Liam. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, well, if your week was poor, mine was abysmal. It's just a bad week. Obviously, Justin Jackson not playing was obviously ideal. It's one of those weeks. We were due. Yeah, we were due. So it's what it is, unfortunately.
Exactly, but still top three, mate. And not far behind at all. It's
exactly. Quite in the prize money still.
Exactly. We had a couple of very good scores this week. I think Jack was the highest scorer with 196.52 points. His lineup was nice, very nice.
Yeah,
he smashed everything he hit landed, which was good. And then I think it was. I think we had who else was it? I thought we had another highish 170 odd. I think it was second spot, M Garvey.
Oh yeah,
171.4. So he jumped, I think, a couple of spots up. The boy had a bad, I wouldn't say a bad week, a disappointing week, like as you say you did with 128.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, Ben Rolfe smashed it. We had let's have a quick look. Who was the lowest? Brown.
See a 94 there.
94. He was the lowest of the week. I think the average was about 134, 135 for everyone this week. So bring on week 10, mate.
Definitely.
Bring on week 10. Let's just have a look where, as everyone can know, we haven't got Rich with us. We did try. Rich did try, but his internet was playing up. Well, it wasn't his internet. It was his laptop. Wasn't having any of it. So he bailed out at the last minute, unfortunately. But he scored 111.2 points last week, and he's 6 points off last position, which I'm very, very shocked at because Rich knows his stuff.
Yes.
I think he's been as kind of a Hail Marying it for the last couple of weeks. I think go big or go home, going for either 250 or 120s. So, but we've seen his team for this week that he's
we have
for our content, our little triple heads up. He might put that in this competition, and I think that's going to get a good score this week. His team looks good, so
yeah, definitely.
So that is the leaderboard. Everyone can see where you are at there. Let's get on. Let's just get straight onto the main slate because I'm excited by this. Let's get onto the high value place. QB, where are you at QB wise?
High end. Kyler Murray for me, 8K. He's the most expensive on the slate. There's a good reason why. Basically, he's matchup proof at this point.
Totally.
You can, I'm pretty sure the last time I spoke about him, he hasn't gone below 24 DraftKings points. He still hasn't. And obviously, he's still got that rushing floor. I think it's averaging 68 rushing yards now on a touchdown every game, which is absolutely mental.
It's madness, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And, he takes on a sort of a clash of Titans game against Buffalo this week, and should be a shootout, hopefully a shootout. And, if it is if that's the case, then Carlo's going to be at the centre of it. So I think he's expensive, but I think he returns pretty nice value.
Well, I think it works out something like kind of his adjusted value is he's 12 points over what he should be, pretty much, or something like that weekly. He basically is, with Kyler, you don't need to stack him.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with the rushing. Last week was 106 yards and a touchdown rushing, and the week before 67 and a touch, and then 74. You're pretty much going to guarantee yourself a touchdown and 50 yards with him, and then his passing yardage and points on top of that. So yeah, Kyler was at 8,000. I'm happy to pay up for Kyler there. He was one of mine. I've got the other side of the ball as well. I've got Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen this week as well. We've just seen what Tua did to that Cardinals defense, and he rushed around a little bit. I think that the Cardinals can be a little bit weak to rushing quarterbacks. I think we're going to see Josh Allen use his legs a fair bit this week as well. If we can get another 415 yards passing game, brilliant. But I'd quite happily have him at 280 passing and then 70 rushing. For Josh Allen, he's 7,500, so he's 500 cheaper than Kyler. But I think everyone thinks this is going to be a shootout. Both defenses are fairly poor. And yeah, same as Kyler. With 8,000, I'm happy to pay for Kyler, and 7,500, I'm very happy to pay out for Josh Allen there. Is there anyone else for you?
High end wise, I quite like DeShaun Watson, 6,100. Maybe you don't be up for Kyler or Allen, cheap prices Watson. He's got equally as not a chip against Cleveland. And he's got some nice stacking options with Cooks and Fuller, which we may get onto later. And he has rushing upsides, so yeah, it's hard not to like him. He's like a cheaper version of Kyler or Allen if you need that money in your lineup.
Yeah, I'm usually really high on DeShaun Watson. I wouldn't put anyone off playing him this week. My only concern is what the weather's like in Cleveland. Because I just think if it's gonna, the wind's picking up. I'm a little bit. I'll be weather watching with regards to my DeShaun Watson ownership on DraftKings this week. But yeah, if the weather's fine, start him up. He's playing fantastically at the moment, and at the price 6.9 again, he's near the top. He's the 5th most expensive, but yeah, I'd be happy to pay up for him. So that's Kyler, Allen, and DeShaun Watson. I think all three of them have that rushing upside, which is very important. Where you at running back?
So there's only one really premium guy for me right now, and that's Aaron Jones, 7,100. On a supposed limited workload last week, he got 20 touches, which is not very limited at all. And that was 5 less game from the air, so that's decent PPR points, which you get in DraftKings scoring. He's had a extended time to rest as they played the last game in prime time. He's taking on a Jacksonville defense who are terrible against the run. Believe it's 28.7 DK points per game at position. That's top 5 in the league, like most. And if maybe we're not Rodgers, so I think a nice way into this game is through Aaron Jones in terms of getting some stake in this game, and that's why I picked him. I quite like him.
Yeah, no, Aaron Jones is on my list as well. My other guy is James Conner. Last week,
you let us down last week.
what can you say? Last week it didn't go to plan. Let's put it that way. I think this is a bounce back opportunity game for him. Big Ben's both his knees are hurt. He's currently on the COVID IR as well, COVID-19 list. I suspect he's probably going to play. If it's similar to what Matty Stafford was, he didn't actually have it. He was just in the vicinity of Vance McDonald, who did have it. So that's something to keep an eye on. And even with Mason Rudolph, I think they can still run on this Bengals defense, who is ranked 29th, 144 yards a game allowed to running backs. I think you're probably looking. I'm not going to say he's going to absolutely bust off, go for 200, but you'd like to think if the Steelers established the run like they should do, like Steelers offenses do, that 100 yards, a touchdown, and a couple of receptions is easily kind of available to him.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't mind paying 6.9 either. I will mention very, very briefly another one who just missed out for me, and you mentioned him before we started.
Yes, yeah.
A healthy Miles Sanders. It's very tempting at that price, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to ignore with those like DK points, pretty much.
I know it's. I think with Sanders as well. A thing to kind of think about is: are they, with his first game back, are they going to give him the full load? Are they going to sprinkle in a bit of Boston Scott? And also in the receiving side of the game, side of the ball, they've got Alshon Jeffrey coming back, Dallas Goedert coming back. They've got Rieger, they got Fulgham. Where does Miles Sanders fit in there? Because if we've got it and Jeffrey back, I suspect they're going to see a fair few targets as well this week. And then you've got Greg Ward.
Yeah.
So, I think Sanders is at 6.4. The price is there to kind of to tease you, tempt you in, isn't it?
Yes, it's almost like Chase Edmonds last week, I suppose, in a little bit.
It is. It's one of those that you kind of like, you want to, but there's part of you it says, I don't think I should. But yeah, I think he could have a very solid game. I don't think he's going to blow up.
Yeah.
That's it, I think, for the running backs for us two. Should we move on to the wide receivers?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with possibly the most obvious one, Davante Adams. It's
9K this week. Wow.
I know it is. Do you know what? He's the most obvious one, because let's just have 47 points, 30 points, 36 points. 9,000 is a lot of is nearly 20% of your overall budget. He's going up against the Jaguars. I genuinely don't care who he's going up against. Davante Adams, if you can fit him in your lineup, if you can potentially stack him with Aaron Rodgers, then you're going to have to save elsewhere. But
definitely, yeah.
Davante Adams at the moment is matchup proof, and if you can get a matchup proof player, then I'm all for it. 9,000 is a bit of a, but if you can fit him in with some cheaper options, which I'm sure we'll have a fair few of them to fill the lineup with Adams and Rodgers in later with our value plays. Who have you got, mate?
Okay, yeah. So I'm not looking to spend 9K on Adams, admittedly, but these next two I've grouped these two together because they're in the same game. So I'm looking at Cooper Kupp and Robert. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. Yeah. I mean, well, I think if you're saying Adams is obvious, then these two are as obvious in my opinion.
There's 6'9". He's 6'9", isn't it? It's something
yeah, 6'9" and 6. Woods is 6'6". With Kupp, obviously, he got a ridiculous game against Miami. He's expected to play, I believe. He's been a bit banged up in training this week, but I don't really care. He's going up against Seattle. That's where I need to just might as well leave it there. I think it's like 63.4 DK points a game to the wide receiver position. But the reason I'm grouping these guys both together is because I'm not entirely sure who's the wide receiver one. And obviously with Jamal Adams back, I'm leaning more to playing Woods in terms of how he's more on the outside and how he likes to get involved in the rushing game a bit more.
Yeah.
And if Cup is in the slot like he predominantly is, Jamal Adams is going to be maybe target him majority of the game. But I think I'll be playing both. I think in terms of if I'm not stacking, then I'll probably lean towards playing Woods, especially at a cheaper price.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I've got Woods and Cup as a joint kind of joint wide receivers of mine. I quite like the obvious Stefan Diggs. Seeing a ridiculous amount of targets last week. Well, not last week. I think he's the most targeted receiver, and with 12 targets against Seattle, that hasn't changed. I'd like to see more kind of touchdown wise because he's not really scoring the touchdowns. But if you wanted to start Josh Allen, then stacking him with Stefan Diggs would be very, very nice, and especially against Arizona, they're a bit leaky. It's whether or not Patrick Peterson's going to be on Diggs. I don't know. It's a thought.
Yeah, it's interesting, that's for sure. I mean, I'm actually on a different Buffalo receiver, which we'll get onto later. But
so am I.
Yeah, well, I wonder who that is. But yeah, I'll tell you what, if it is Diggs v Peterson, that'd be a good matchup to watch, actually.
It will be. And just the other one is Keenan Allen going up against Miami. He is 13, 12, and 11 targets last 3 games. He's Justin Herbert's best friend, basically, on the field. If Keenan Allen is not being double covered or probably isn't being triple covered, he'll throw it to Keenan Allen's way. And he scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games. I don't mind the price at 7,100 either. I think you're going to get I would get a solid floor of 20 odd points.
So you'd hope for, definitely.
Yeah, so I don't mind that. Let's go on to tight ends. Who have you got?
I mean, if you class him as high price, Evan Ingram, 4,500.
Yeah, I'll let you class him as high price.
Yeah, it's on the cup, isn't he? But this position's been absolutely dark for the past few weeks in terms of trying to get people that are going to do well in this position. And I think Ingram's been the guy that's kind of everyone sort of slept on the past few weeks in terms of targets and actual production. As you can see, or if this is a podcast, he's got 29 targets over the past 3 weeks.
He saw 9 targets.
He's going
against Philly as well.
Yeah, and I guess he's going to get this week Philly again.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are the worst defense in the league against tight ends, I believe. And if Golden Tate is still being exiled, I believe he's back in practice, but I think the judge came out and said that he's not going to see the role that he was going to see pretty much. So that just screams to me that Engram and Shepard are going to continue to see their target share. So yeah, I think if you're looking for about 15 points for Engram, I think that's very realistic in terms of his production this week.
Yeah, no, I quite like Evan Ingram. I think the price 4,500 is fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're paying 4,500 and you've got a tight end, he's getting 10 targets a game, you're going to be happy. Very,
definitely,
very happy.
Yeah.
And if I'm right in thinking, he basically did he cost them the game against Philadelphia or something? I saw. I think.
Yeah.
I think something.
I can't
like
remember
that.
exactly.
I saw.
I wouldn't be surprised if he dropped a few passes. To be honest, that's Evan Ingram as in a nutshell.
Exactly,
but,
he's catching about 50% of his passes at the moment in the last couple of games, anyway. I think I'm going to the same player that I've gone for the last 3 weeks. Darren Waller.
Yeah, well, it's hard not to, eh?
He's Mr. He's kind of the Mr. Reliable for the Raiders. He's very, very solid. You're not going to get a game where I think you're going to see he's going to get 3 targets. He's going to see a minimum of 6 odd targets, and he's probably at the moment the 3rd best tight end of the season for me. He's played really, really well. This Denver defense is not as good as people thought it was. I said that last week about the Falcons when they went up against them, that it's just not. It's not as good as people think. They got torched by Matt Ryan. Hayden Hurst had a really good game. I think that Darren Waller he's high price. He's 5,900. So it's one of those. Do I, don't I kind of plays, but I think I don't mind him. I don't mind him there. I think he's Mr. Reliable.
And a position where it's so unreliable at times, you kind of want that reliability. So yeah, I completely understand that play.
Exactly.
100%.
Where are you at defense?
Yeah, so only one expensive option for me, and that's Philadelphia, 3,600. To be honest, the past two games before their bye week, they'd scored 29 DK points.
Yeah.
And they got the second highest sack rate percentage in the league, I think only behind Pittsburgh. And funnily enough, one of those performances where they did, as you see, week 7, they got 9 points against New York, which I'm hoping they can at least replicate this week, if not maybe do better than that, especially with Daniel Jones at quarterback, who is basically exactly. And Daniel Jones is like a turnover machine at this point. Exactly. He's basically giving away interceptions and fumbles. So yeah, the price I thought actually a bit more expensive than this before the slate came out. So at 3,600, I'll happily play these guys.
Yeah. I looked at Philly. I don't know. I quite like them, but it's the Steelers for me. Just for me, it's don't overthink things. The Steelers, they didn't do great against Dallas, but this defense is ridiculous. I think that the Bengals O-line has looked better, slightly better the last couple of weeks, but Dupree and Watt are going to destroy them. It's kind of where I'm at. I think.
And it's rookie QB. I know it's Burrow, but it's rookie QB, right? And they always make mistakes from time to time. So
exactly, especially with the amount of pressure that they're going to do. Especially with the amount of pressure that the Steelers will put on Burrow. Right, then we've run through the high value plays that we like. Let's go for the kind of the lower value play. Well, mid to low. Some of them will be ridiculously cheap, and some of them will be kind of mid range. Let's go back. Let's start on the QBs. Who are you liking?
So I've got two for me. Ran a similar price range. I'll start with the first one in Drew Lock. 5,500. Yeah, I don't like Drew Lock, but he's just this garbage time QB that puts up 20 points. And it's so annoying to watch.
He's awful for 3 quarters, good for 1.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous, but that's why he's such a good DFS play, because he's giving you that 4 times value that you need from your QB essentially.
It's Blake Bortles when he was at the Jaguars. It's garbage time. It's 4th quarter. That's what you're getting.
Right, yeah, and I mean, against this Raiders defense, I'm not exactly scared of them, to be honest.
No, they are not good.
So, I mean, if you are looking for a value QB player, I think it's hard not to look at Drew Lock, and don't be too scared if he's on like 5 points in the 3rd quarter, because I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, you should be fine. I'm going to guess who your second one is.
Okay.
Is it Derek Carr?
Yes, yeah, and yeah, exactly the same reasons, to be completely honest. He's just Mr. Consistent. Apart from the win game in Cleveland, he does exactly the same what Drew Lock will do. I think in terms of returning you that value that you need for that position.
Exactly, and as I said when we talked about the high value plays, this Denver defense isn't as good.
Yeah,
it can be had. So a sneaky kind of stack with someone like Carr would be an Aguilar, because we saw what Olamide Zacchaeus did last week.
Yes,
he blitzed them, so that's an interesting one. I did have those two, which I quite liked on my list. There is one which is the comeback player of the year. He's so blatantly winning it. Alex Smith. He's going up against Detroit. Detroit are absolutely horrendous defensively. I think, yeah, I think he looked all right last week. Yes, he had 3 interceptions, but I think getting that game under his belt, good 32 attempts, 24 completions for 325 and a touchdown. He's what, 5,200? I think he's going to do all right. I really quite like him this week, actually.
Yeah, we saw last week how he's got the playmakers to do well, like Cam, Timms, McLaurin. They kind of saved him in a way because his air yards was terrible. I think it was like not even 100.
Yeah.
So he was relying on those guys to get it done for him, and they did in a sense. It was just felt the last hurdle.
Exactly. So yeah, that's my real cheapo. I quite like him this week. It's famous last words, mate. Famous last words.
Definitely. Yeah.
Running back. I'm going to start running back.
Okay.
And I've got 2 in the same game.
Interesting.
2 on the same team.
Even more interesting.
I am more than happy with Antonio Gibson and JD McKissick. Following on from Alex Smith, you've got McKissick, who's 49. He is the passing downs back. Alex Smith loves a dump off. He saw, what did he see? 14 targets last week.
Just a 14, Jamie. Just a 14.
Only 14. His price is what, 4,900. You're probably not getting 14 targets again. He's seeing a couple of rush attempts. So he saw 8 in week 6, 5 in week 7, and 3 in week 9. And reception and targets for 6, 2, and 14 in those 3 games. I think he might get somewhere from around 5 rushing attempts, and target wise, you're hoping north of 7, which is probably going to happen with Alex Smith. The price, I really don't mind him. And Antonio Gibson, who is 56. Initially it was all kind of, for me, was McKissick. Yeah, I'm loving the kind of the targets, thinking what he's getting. And then you realise that it's against Detroit. And then you realise and you remember that Detroit are absolutely garbage against the run. Garbage against the run, what they're allowing. 148 rushing yards, 48.1 rushing yards a game, 30th rank.
Terrible.
Yeah. He's not flashy, Gibson. They're slightly inconsistent in the amount of touches they give him. So week 5 was rushing attempts was 11, then 9, then 20, and then 6 last week. I think that you're going to see more of the 15 plus attempts this week, just because it's Detroit. I really do, and he'll see a couple of targets. But yeah, I don't mind him. I wouldn't go against anyone if they really wanted to go full hog and stack Gibson, McKissick, and Alex Smith. I really don't.
Wow, that would be some stack. That would be some stack.
And I think at kind of it's a minimum kind of price. I don't hate it. So yeah, they're 2 that I quite like. I've got a couple more with, but let's see. What about you? Who do you like?
Yes, McKissick was on my list. I mean, it feels cheating mentioning, to be honest. Obviously, Mike Davis 4K. Yeah, I don't know why is he 4K? I don't understand.
Because the pricing was done before McCaffrey, the injury.
Yeah, even so, like, he shouldn't be stone min, to be completely honest.
He should be at least 5.
Yeah, so I mean, he's going to get at least 15 touches, and I'll be very surprised if he doesn't return at least 12 points on the week on Sunday. It's Tampa Bay, admittedly. They're very good run defense. It's good defense in general.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. He's going to have the touches to do that, essentially. And I'll play him at 4K. I think everyone should, really.
I wouldn't care who Mike Davis was playing. If he were 4K and he's just starting running back for the Carolina Panthers, he's in my lineup.
Yeah,
he's going to get. It's the touches, as we said with Evan Engram. He was seeing. If you can get a tight end that's seeing 10 targets a week every game, you're taking that and you're snapping the hand off. If you're getting a starting running back at 4,000, who's going to see minimum of 15 touches, minimum, because I think he's going to see 7-8 targets at least as well. I think that this is the utter chalk smash play of the week. He is going to be the chalkiest of chalk. Has to be at that price.
If he's not 85% owned in our competition, I'm disappointed. To be completely honest, it should be 100, but if he's not 85%, then I'll be disappointed.
Exactly. So so we got Mike Davis down into bucks of 4,000. Don't overthink it. Put him in your lineup. Who else?
Well, I know me and you disagree on this one. It's Duke Johnson at 5k. Obviously, we heard about David Johnson just been ruled out as we just before we recorded this. And last week he got 20 touches. Admittedly, it wasn't the most productive 20 touches, but it's 5k. It's another budget option. Like, if he gets 20 touches again against this Cleveland run defense, I'd like to think he can do a bit better than last week. And it's a good price. I like the touches he's getting, and I'll plug him in quite happily, to be honest.
I don't hate the price. I don't. 5,000 again, starting running back. My issue with Duke Johnson is he's just not good at running the ball. Can you genuinely tell me can you remember a time when Duke Johnson looked good running the ball? It might have been, the Texans O-line isn't helping any of that, but everybody says he needs to be given a chance. You've got to give Duke a chance. Brilliant, he gets a chance, and then he doesn't really do a huge amount. I'm just a little bit concerned, but the price. Sometimes as we just said about Mike Davis, you get a starting running back at 5,000 who's going to see 15 to 20 touches. Sometimes you need to not think, well, he hasn't done it before, and think, well, he's getting the opportunity to do it. So I can see exactly where you're coming from. I'm probably just being a little bit more cautious than you are.
Yes, yeah.
Is there anybody else apart from the Mike Davis and Duke Johnson?
I don't think so. No, not for me.
I've got one more, and it's Tremaine Pope. We saw.
Is he definitely?
Yeah, he's cleared.
Okay,
I read somewhere that I swear I did.
So obviously Jackson's out. We know that for sure.
Yeah, he's cleared the protocol for head injuries, and while neck injury didn't cap his practice reps, I saw this week he enters the weekend with a cloud hanging over his head. Having said that, there's a good chance he plays this Sunday. He's 4,000. He's not the starting running back there.
No,
and no one's a starting running back there right now. We saw what Kalen Ballage did last week when Pope was out. He basically filled the role that Pope and Jackson would play. In week 8 against Denver, he looked all right. 10 attempts for 67 yards, 7 targets, 5 receptions for 28 yards. I expect with Jackson out, Joshua Kelly just doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's annoying because I quite like Joshua Kelly coming in, but it's just not. He's not doing it. He's not playing the boots.
Pope is ahead. I would assume that it'll be a bit of a three-headed monster with Pope, and Ballage and Kelly all splitting carries. But I think at 4,000, I'm more than happy to have a go at this, and I think you can run on Miami.
Yeah, you definitely can. I think if it's one, I watch them every week pretty much, and if there's one thing about that, it's running backs, defending them. Yeah.
So to me, this is a real high upside play. This is a proper go for it. Where are we? Let's go to wide receivers. Where are you at wide receivers, mate? I said to you earlier that I've got a list as long as my arm, and I put a tweet out saying the value on receivers from 5 to 6k and from like 3 to 4k. I love it. I really like it. It gives you these players that we're gonna list, and people like Davis and Duke Johnson are going to give you the opportunity to, if you wanted to put a Devontae Adams in, or a Kyler Murray or an Aaron Jones in, the more higher price, and you can really solidify your lineup with kind of the low to mid range selections. Where are you at wide receiver then?
Yeah, this was going to surprise you, especially after my comment 2 weeks ago. Brandin Cooks.
Oh my word!
You know what? I took your advice last week and I played him with a few stacks of Watson and I think it was Fuller as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, he paid off, and he kind of won me over again a little bit.
Oh, that's good to hear, mate.
Because obviously, week before he put up the goose egg, I was pretty pissed off with him, not gonna lie. And then last week he got 17.3 DK points, and he's heading into a nice matchup again against Cleveland, as we've kind of already mentioned with Watson.
Yeah.
And I think in the last 4 games he's averaged 21.3 DK points as well. So there's a nice bit of consistency there with him. And he's seeing
targets.
I was about to say 9 targets at least in the last 4 games. So
I
like him a lot.
The thing with Brandin Cooks is that goose egg against Minnesota was that Sean Watson came out afterwards and in an interview, and someone asked him about Brandin Cooks and him basically shitting the bed, and Watson just was honest as we. He says I was trying to get it to Cooks. He just the scheme that the Vikings were playing was covering him up. So I couldn't get him the ball. And then the next week he comes out and gets eight receptions for 161 and a touchdown. I started him that week. I think I've started him pretty much on most weeks in the season long. But yeah, no, I like Brandin Cooks. I like Will Fuller as well. But the price for 5,600, his price isn't really changing. It was 5,500 last week. The price just keeps dragging you in. His price is like Deontay Johnson's. It just keeps dragging you in. John A is one of mine.
Okay.
How long are they going to continually price the wide receiver one in Pittsburgh at 52?
I don't know. I really don't.
When he's healthy, so this game he was healthy, 10 targets. Wasn't really healthy against Baltimore. He got injured. Tennessee 15 targets. Denver 13 targets. New York Giants 10 targets. He's seeing a minimum of 10 targets when he's 100%. It's ridiculous. And at 5,200 going up against the Bengals, who are around 260 a game, they're saying here. I quite like Deontay at 5,200, and if they're going to keep pricing it like that, he's going to continue to be on my list of value plays.
Definitely. Yeah, I've always liked Deontay. He's a great player, and I say he's wide receiver one, so hard to ignore him, eh?
Exactly. Who else have you got?
So we referred to him earlier. Cole Beasley, 4,700. I'm taking a leaf out of the Jack Humphrey book here, and I tried to do this last week with Gesicki, and it kind of paid off. I lost a bit of bet, but
we didn't think we were going to win that. We did not think we were going to win that.
Yeah, well, I said he didn't. I said that 9 points was a winnable score, and it turned out it was. But yeah, Beasley, unlike Gesicki, is more of a traditional slot receiver. He's seeing 86.5% of his snaps from the slot.
Yeah.
And the middle of the field, as Jack has been pointing out on his Twitter, has been a real weakness for this Arizona team.
Yeah.
I referred to it last week, but players like Lockett and Crowder have been exploited already this season, going for 100+ games in yardage wise. And I like Beasley. After a few bad weeks of Beasley, I like him to bounce back in this game, and probably one of his most favourable matchups of the whole season. Yeah. And at the discount price of 4,700, I'll happily play him as a wide receiver free.
Yeah. I'm a massive fan of Cole Beasley. I can see exactly where he's coming from there. He's not on my list. I've gone
Smokey Brown.
I've gone with Smokey Brown.
Yeah, I liked him last week. I played him a few places.
Yeah, it's not some. How do I put this? The Bills' offense has been stuttering for the last couple of weeks. Smokey gets healthy back in the lineup, and they smash 44 points. I know it's against Seattle, but they just look so much better. He's saw 11 targets, 8 receptions for 99 yards. It was a toss-up between Brown and Beasley for me. I think Brown will see be playing in the middle of the field, middle of the field as well as Beasley.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned with Diggs, we think potentially Diggs could be, whether or not Arizona will man him with Peterson is something just to watch out for. But I think Brown and Beasley are two very good options, especially at the price. Is there anyone else for you kind of in this range?
I think, no, there was obviously Chris Laviska Chenault's out, and I think if you're after a really, really, really cheap guy, then Chris Conley's not someone I'm against playing.
Yeah, at min.
Yeah, he got 30 targets with Chenault out last time, and you know, I don't think, obviously with Chark, he's going to be, if Alexander plays, he's going to be drawing attention of Alexander. So I don't mind Chris Conley on the other side, who, if Jake Luton or Luton is playing again, which I believe he is, then yeah, I don't mind Conley if you're after a dart for over the tournament. Go for
it. He's a solid wide receiver, Chris Conley. He was okay when he was at the Chiefs. I thought he was going to do better last year for the Jags, but it didn't pan out. I've got Christian Kirk.
Okay.
Five touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. He's seeing more targets. In the last couple of weeks, he's seen more targets than DeAndre Hopkins. In fantasy points, standard fantasy points as well. Hopkins is like the wide receiver 47 the last 3 weeks, and Christian Kirk is way top 20. They're using him in kind of little bits of gadget plays as well. So like the sweep round. He's also can be used kind of as a deep ball. Buffalo defense isn't great. It has played better the last couple of weeks. I'll give it that. But at 5,700, I'm all over Christian Kirk this week. He's got a good connection with Kyler, and who's the Bills cornerback? Is it Tre'Davious White? No, is he the cornerback?
Yeah, that's the number one corner. Yeah,
it's whether or not there was a slight injury concern on him, and even if it's not, he'll be covering Hopkins, so it should give a bit more room for Christian Kirk, which will be nice. I've got, as I said to you, I've got a list as long as my arm on this. I'm not gonna go into talking about all of them, but I will mention them, and you can just look at me and tell me how stupid I am. KJ Hamler against the Raiders for the Broncos, he's 3,800. He's been seeing a fair few amount of targets, especially last week. Didn't get a touchdown last week, but did the week before. Going up against the Raiders, I think at 3,800 is a great price. If Cooper Kupp isn't out, Josh Reynolds in 9 targets last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I like that one. It's nice
at 3,500 going up against the Seahawks, who are historically the worst passing defense ever in the NFL.
Yes. Yeah.
The fact that he's seeing that amount of targets, he's more of the. I'm trying to work out, because the Seahawks are bad, very, very, very bad at deep balls. Defender deep balls. Kupp isn't deep. Isn't going deep. Woods isn't going to. So does that potentially leaves Reynolds? So at 3,500, again, I quite like. I think you can see a fair few targets. On the other side of the ball is David Moore, 3,400 for the Hawks going up against the Rams. He's you look at David Moore. No one really thinks about David Moore when you've got Lockett and Metcalf. They're the guys, but he's just saying, look at it. He's 17 points, 13 points, 8 points, and nothing. 18, 1, 13. I think at 3,400, you're going to see probably 3 or 4 targets. And he's got 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games, so I quite like him.
Yeah.
So they're the cheaper ones, the Reynolds, the Moore, the Hamlers. They're the ones. If you really wanted to fit in, go big on someone like. You wanted Kyler Murray, you wanted Aaron Jones, and you wanted Davante Adams or whatever it will be, and you can fill the rest of your kind of wide receiver core with high upside plays. Where are you at tight end?
To be completely honest, I don't love anyone else apart from Engram, cheap wise. I mean, I was considering which San Francisco tight end to play between Reed or Dwelly, and I can't work out which one I like. Obviously, Reed is typically the guy that sees the end zone targets, right? But Dwelly is going to be the guy who's, Mullins is going to like moving up the field, and as you know, the Saints are pretty poor against the tight end. So I don't know whether you can convince me either way, but I'm just trying to work out which one I like more.
It's all dependent on, for me, any kind of the health of Jordan Reed.
Yeah.
Jordan Reed is going to be is more the kind of the red zone kind of tight end, but they still haven't got Debo back, so they're looking at what Ayuk, Richie James. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of 2 tight end sets, so they'll both be on the. It's a toss up, mate. The price on Dwelly is what, 3,800, and what's the price on Reed?
35. It's more. Sorry, it's 4. Oh, sorry.
It's 35. I think if you want to play it safer, you go with Dwelly. If you just want to, if you're hoping for the upside of 2 touchdowns, it's Reed, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Unlike you, there was a few which kind of stood out to me. Where am I looking here? You've got Dallas Goedert, who's coming back. He was eased in last week with his 1 target.
Yeah.
He played a high percentage of the offensive snaps. Richard Rodgers, when he was filling in for Goddard and Ertz, week 7, I think he was 60 yards and a touchdown against the Giants.
Yeah, I remember that game well, yeah.
At 4,200, I quite like him. I'm always going to pipe up for Eric Ebron. He's going up against the flipping Cincinnati Bengals. 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks at 4,400. Do you know what? I prefer Goddard at the price.
Okay.
But where is my last one? This is... Can't find him. This is great. Gerald Everett. If you can't fit a Woods or a Cup in your lineup, just slide Everett in. He's the more athletic tight end in Los Angeles. He's seeing more targets than Tyler Higbee. He's not a blocker. He is the receiving tight end. And what he saw, 9 targets against Miami, 5 against Chicago, 4 against 49ers, and 4 against Washington. But at basically min price at what, 3,100, I really like him. And so yeah, you've had 8.2, 12.8, 13.3 in the last 4 weeks. I think that's great.
It's a nice call, that actually. Yeah,
quite like Gerald Everett. Let's scoot on to defenses, and I'm going to let you talk about defense because I think we've both got the same one.
Yeah, and I've been targeting against this offense, not the whole season, but majority of the season. And as on the screen now, it's Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah,
2,200 this week. It's quite simply, I just like targeting Seattle offense. A turnover prone, as we saw last week. They have been all season, and no one seems to pay attention to it, and not do DraftKings.
Exactly.
And Aaron Donald is an absolute machine, and that defense is going to create turnovers. And I'd like them to return a decent amount of points. If it might not be astronomical, but you don't need it at 2,200. You need 6 to 8 points to be happy.
Exactly.
And I think they can do that easily.
Well, when we had a quick chat before we started recording, and we both talked about the Rams defense. I don't care. I don't care, and I wouldn't be surprised if Russell Wilson puts 40 points up on the Rams, but he's going to get sacked 5 times doing it. Just give me the sacks.
Yeah.
Just give me the sacks. I love the Rams defense this week. 2,200 is begging for people for them to be chosen. So we've just gone through obviously the high price and kind of the value price plays we like. Should we go on to stacks?
Yeah, you can do.
I'm gonna. I've mentioned this stack already. It's the Washington football team stack. I know you're not exactly loving that price, right? It's the Smith at 5,200, Gibson at 56, and the McKissick at 49.
I think it's, you know what, I think it's Gibson. I think I could back a Smith and McKissick. I think it's just Gibson that worries me a little bit.
I think they're going to try and run the ball as well. I really do.
Yeah.
Detroit are garbage.
I know.
And how annoying would it be if you got the wrong running back?
Oh, yeah.
McKissick is basically a wide receiver. He's a poor version of Robert Woods. A couple of rushing attempts and he gets 10 targets. So yeah, I'll have a line up with that in. I think at a very low priced triple stack there, I quite like it. What about you? Give us your first stack.
Yeah, it might be an obvious one to some people. Goff, Woods, and Cup.
Yeah.
I quite like the triple. Just a bit like you, maybe you don't want to get the wrong wide receiver, so just play both.
Yeah, no, I like the Ram stack there, mate. Also, potentially think about Gerald Everett at 3,100, adding that in.
Yeah, definitely.
If you really want to go full out against this Seahawks defense. My other stack is the Denver stack. It's Drew Lock, KJ Hamler, Jerry Jeudy, and Tim Patrick. So if I think I struggle to make a pick between the Jeudy and Patrick, if I'm honest. Judy's 56, Patrick's 49. Hamler for me at 3,800. I'm always going to put him in a stack there with Drew Lock, and it will be one of the other, probably Jeudy or probably Patrick cheaper if you can afford. It's all about what you can really afford to, and as you said earlier, that Drew Lock is a fourth quarter garbage time
lock.
I thought earlier in the week actually, Drew Lock is fantastic against prevent defenses. That's Drew Lock.
Yeah,
prevent defense. So yeah, that's so. The Lock Hamler and let's say Tim Patrick, I think that's similar to the kind of the Washington. I've kind of gone for the slightly cheaper stacks, but I really do like your Seahawks stack as well. That was kind of one of mine I thought about. I did think either you or Rich might do the same, so I kind of tried to venture out somewhere else.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
No. Have you got another stack or?
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw Watson and Cooks out there. Had a Houston stack against Cleveland. Was on it last week. We'll be on it this week. Should go up wonders again, hopefully, with those targets and that. So yeah.
Definitely. Let's go on to kind of play of the week. I'm just going to say that we can't include Mike Davis in this.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
At 4,000, he's just we thought that Mike Davis. So who's your player of the week? I
will go with Evan Engram for 4,500. Yeah, I think he's just too secure in terms of targets not to make him a player of the week. And yeah, I like it in a very volatile position.
My player of the week is Aaron Jones.
Nice.
7,100 going up against the Jags. Yeah, we've talked about Aaron Jones, how much we like him. I don't mind paying up for the price at 7,100 either. So I'm all for it. I'm just going to have a quick look. We've got a couple of questions actually this week.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
The first question is from UK NFL Best Ball, and his Twitter handle is @BestBall UK NFL, and that is Henry Ruggs a value or a trap at 4,500 this week?
Ooh. I mean, he's a trap for me. He's just so inconsistent, isn't he? He's a bit like McCall Hardman, I suppose, in terms of he's that explosive player who can go off for one play, but predicting that one play is just like it's a complete dart throw. And go on, carry on. Go on.
I think with Ruggs is going to be very, very low owned. He's going to be
that's true. Yeah,
he's going to be very, very low owned. He'll be very, very low owned with me owning absolutely none of him.
Exactly. Yeah. Me too.
For me, 4,500. Just thinking about what other players that you could look at the same kind of price. If I'm honest, I prefer a David Moore at 34. I prefer Josh Reynolds. I prefer KJ Hamler than him, and they're all cheaper. So for me, he's a bit of a trap at 4,500 as well. So I do agree with you on that. second question is from at Fantasy Fling. Who's the most likely candidate to crash lineups this week? AKA Justin Jackson last week. That hurt. Yeah. Who do you think is the most likely to crash lineups this week?
I reckon Alvin Kamara. I think everyone's have the salary from Mike Davis to put it all into Alvin Kamara, and he's going to absolutely be not terrible, but not return value they want against one of the best rush defenses in the league.
Off the top of my head, I can't think. I don't know this. What are they like against pass catching running backs? San Francisco.
Oh God, let me check.
And also with Michael Thomas coming back, that they might give Kamara a bit more space in kind of the passing attack. So
potentially, but equally, Thomas, there's a direct correlation between Thomas getting targets and taking it away from Kamara. So for me, that makes Thomas come back actually makes it more Kamara more of a bust for me.
Okay, that's interesting. No, I can kind of agree with you on your Kamara there.
Yeah, so just so obviously mentioned about San Francisco against receiving backs. So they give up 5 receptions a game for about 36 yards, and basically no touchdowns at all to the running back, 5 all season.
Interesting. If I'm honest, Kamara wasn't really a thought of mine this week either. So yeah,
no, it wasn't for me. But
that's a good shout. I like that. My candidate to crash this week is you're going to disagree with me, and it's because we've talked about Jonathan Taylor being a trap game, and it was against Detroit. Yeah. I kind of have this little feeling that Duke Johnson's going to be a bit of a trap game this week. I'm just, as I've mentioned about Duke, that he doesn't. It's difficult to explain. He doesn't look like a really good running back, as in running the ball.
Yeah.
It's a lot better pass catch. This is just me. Other people are going to say he's so much better. But from my personal experience, I think the price is going to grab people in. And do you know what? You could even say Mike Davis could possibly be this against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, 100%.
You could. So, but yeah, Duke Johnson for me. That is going to blow up so badly in my face. I'm not looking forward to that. And we've got one last question, which is from @Lucky Fancy Guy Martin. Who is the best under 4K tight end this Sunday?
I mean, we kind of discussed it, right? I mean, Gerald Everett's a good shout, I think, at 3,100, like you said, Jamie. Yeah. And then, I mean, if Tonyan actually practiced, I would say Tonyan's up there for me at 36, but he hasn't today, which has kind of put me off him. And then, Dwelly, maybe at 3,800 is another one that I quite like in terms of overall production and in a nice matchup.
Yeah, so there you go. You've got Dwelly and you've got Gerald Everett.
Yeah.
Gerald, for me, I think they both should be fairly safe, and they're both fairly cheap. So I think we both quite like them. Should we get on to our lineups this week?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm gonna grab Rich's up because he sent it to us in the chat. So I'll speak off Rich's lineup and then you can slate it basically. You can batter it. Rich has gone with Drew Lock at 5,500 against the Raiders. James Conner and Kareem Hunt at running back. Brandon Ayuk, Brandon Cooks and Jerry Jeudy at wide receiver. Evan Ingram at tight end. Keenan Allen in his flex and the Rams DST. What do you think about that?
It's hard not. I mean, Ayuk's an interesting one. I mean, I'm not personally playing Ayuk this week just because he'd probably get Lamb all right. And it's not a matchup I want to be involved in. But yeah, I don't hate the lineup at all, really. I have quite a few plays I like in there. So
yeah, Lock's fairly solid. James Conner I like. Kareem Hunt with Nick Chubb coming back is very, very interesting. He's better.
True.
He plays better when Chubb is there. Ayuk is an interesting one. You've got Brandon Cooks, who we both really like, Jerry Judy, who, if he's healthy, I know kind of there's a questionable tag on him, but I suspect he will play. And that's a nice kind of stack with Drew Lock. And then you've got Evan Ingram, who you love this week. Keenan Allen, who we've mentioned, who is basically Justin Herbert's best friend. He's seen a ridiculous amount of targets. And then the Rams defense, which we both really like as well.
Yes, yeah.
Hit me with your team.
Okay, so 3 head-to-heads now since I joined. Won last week as well, so happy days.
You did. You won by 6 points.
Yeah, well, it was a rough week, wasn't it? But I'll take that video regardless. Yeah, so QB for me this week is Jared Goff. Running backs, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders. Wide receivers, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks. Tight end, Evan Ingram. Mike Davis in the flex, and the Rams DST.
Oh, do you know what, mate? I absolutely love that lineup.
No spoiler, that might be my DFS, the season-long DFS lineup. I'm not too sure yet.
That might be my bloody DFS. That is a really, really nice lineup.
The only one negative thing is obviously Goff isn't very mobile, but does it matter? I don't know.
No, I don't think it does. I don't think it does. Okay, no, that lineup he's got me shitting my pants. Let's put it that way. My lineup is, let's have a butchers at it. I've got Kyler Murray, Aaron Jones, Mike Davis, obviously, Bobby Woods, Christian Kirk, the stack with Kyler, John Brown, Dallas Goedert, James Conner, and the Rams DST. I do prefer yours.
Yeah, yours isn't bad either, to be honest.
It's going to be interesting this week. That was very close to being my season on DFS Week 10 lineup. This one, but I might just copy yours.
I might try and worm Kyler in mine, to be honest. I'm not too sure.
It was either Connor or Miles Sanders for me.
Yeah, it's a slip of a coin, to be honest. Those two.
I couldn't get Keenan Allen in. I really wanted some Keenan Allen in there as well, but
yeah, if he's a Keenan Allen, he might see X or Xavier Howard, and Howard's been locked down all season pretty much. So that's the same thing that puts me off. But as you said, like, he's going to see targets, so
exactly.
I think he's worth the risk.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Herbert's mind. That's it, mate. Thank you very much for joining me. Where can we find you on Twitter?
Yeah, so Twitter is at Dolphin Abroad. Do my DFS content for Rich, so or at K_Fantasy Sports. Latest article went up today. And
a good article, mate. Yes. It's very good.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I do my betting content. I do post it on Twitter, and I do it also at the dolphinabroad.wordpress.com.
Everyone check that out. Just go and see what Liam's up to. He's putting a lot of good work.
Closing in on 1,000 followers. That's nice.
Very nice. I've no idea how many followers I've got. Probably 30, God knows. You can find me at Jamie_Byrom, BYROMKM. That's my personal handle. And you can find Season Long DFS at Season Long DFS. And the website is www.seasonlongdfs.com. I've got the leaderboard and the spreadsheet and everything. So anyone who's interested in seeing it, it's on. I think it's my pinned tweet, I believe, or it's at least one of the top couple of tweets that I've sent out. And it's going well. We're all enjoying it from what people are saying this season. I'm already planning for next year for it, hopefully for bigger and better.
Definitely.
And have a lovely weekend.
You too.
Enjoy the games.
I'll try to. That was Miami win.
Hopefully Miami win for you anyway. I don't have to worry about this because the Falcons aren't playing this weekend.
Oh, lovely.
We can't lose. We cannot lose, which is a lovely feeling. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me, Liam. Rich, we missed you. We did miss you, Rich, and your Dyson. The Dyson will forever live. Rich. You really need to get a new Hoover. You really do, mate. And we love IKEA. That's especially for Rich.
Oh, definitely. I miss the IKEA talk.
Oh, IKEA. They're so amazing, aren't they, Rich? Lovely. Cheers, mate. Enjoy.
Cheers. You too.
Bye.